All right, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Apparently, um, I got hit with a copyright. But for those of you that were here earlier, you had the opportunity to see um, where I was getting at. Let me allow more people to come in so we can take the conversation from where we stopped. Yes, Rashid, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's I got hit with a copyright. So I thought the video was okay to use it because some of these videos from the past, they don't seem to hit you with copyright. But people, as you guys have seen, huh, proud Eritrean things. No, it's the copyright. It's the copyright. Okay, I want to welcome you guys back in the house. Yo, Kwesi, welcome in the house. So, people, last time you guys heard, right? We had the conversation here where even one of the other, Pan-African style individuals were talking about how their biggest beef with the Somalis was the marriage thing. So I thought about, Uganda, how Uganda used to be with Idi Amin. So that's what brought this conversation about. So what you were seeing before I was interrupted, the Indians, they had an easy life in Uganda at the time. The British are the ones that brought, the Indians over there. So mind you, they came before Uganda was free. They saw when the Ugandans were under the British. So the Ugandans were serving under the British as the British subjects. So were the Indians, but the Indians had, were elevated above the Africans. So when Uganda gained its independence, because Idi Amin was the second president, he started cracking down on the Indians. Like in the video that I showed, he gave them 90 days to leave his country. And he gave several reasons, which, by the way, to see all those reasons, you have to go see that video, that short documentary. Obviously, I can't play it here because then um, my stream here is going to get interrupted. But do you think, like with a mentality like Idi Amin, I know we want to, like with his mentality, would somebody like Idi Amin rise up in Africa in the future? Because you see, Chinese are in many different places in Africa, especially in the East. So, mind you, many years ago when the British colonized that part of Africa, they brought Indians to work on the railroads, to build the railroad. That's how the Indians came to Kenya, um, and Uganda and Tanzania, those areas. And I've also read somewhere that, the Indians have always had presence there around Tanzania before the British came. But regardless of that, the story is when Idi Amin came to power, because obviously there's obvious difference between the Indians and the Ugandans. Their cultures are not the same. Business wise, business acumen, not the same. It's not the same. You see, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So Idi Amin did not like, he didn't like that. He didn't like that. When he became the strong man of Uganda, like I was showing in the video, he wanted the Indians out. He wanted them out of his country. Even if the economy was going to stagnate, he wanted them out. This has happened around Africa in different countries, even in West Africa, where a certain group gets kicked out of that country. But sometimes it doesn't have that much economic impact like it did in Uganda. Let's see, Audrey said, maybe it's because Idi Amin was a Hitler supporter. He can't say that about the J people. They are my people too. I like that. Yeah. But you see, Audrey, I get what you're saying. But what Idi Amin is also talking about, some of the shenanigans that were taking place at the time, which by the way, we all know it's still taking place. You know, we gotta look at that as well. Not that I'm saying he should have said this. But do you think it's dangerous for these countries with the pattern and history of Africa to move into African countries and businesses build businesses? Because at some point they are going to turn on the new group that came. Although in Uganda, no, in Kenya, it doesn't look like that would be a thing for the Indians since they've been inducted officially as one of the country's tribes. So, oh, is this going to be the new thing around Africa? I think Africans have so much. Most African places, the culture is so different from other people, even from other Africans, that it's hard for them to coexist with them. It's really hard. They see each other as different. Okay? Just like Idi Amin saw these people different. He said they don't want to marry with the Africans. They don't share religion with the Africans. That was one of his reasons. And people might say, oh, maybe did Idi Amin want an Indian woman? There's no proof that he's interested in that. All the women he was with, they are all his African Ugandan women. There are many, many things they've said about him. We don't know. Some true, some might not be true. But as far as we know, he didn't hold his tongue back. He didn't hold his tongue back. Looking at the situation there, what does this tell you about the future in Africa or even right now? Maybe we have plenty of Idi Amins. Who knows? They might turn against the Chinese at some point, just like they turned against the Europeans and the Indians in Uganda. Or if you think Africans have gone beyond that level, I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to drop the link here. Um, in fact, today is Friday. I'm going to drop the link. You can come and tell me what you think, because I have said this before and somebody thought I was talking crazy. They were like, that's not possible. Or some people would say, oh, the Africans love other races too much. What does that even mean? You see? What does that even mean? Because you see, another thing that people like to point out, the tribalism. See, with Idi Amin, He came from a small tribe. And if I could have played that interview, when it came to the Indians, the Ugandans united. They put the tribalism away. Majority of them, in fact, supported Idi Amin. The Indians were afraid of the Africans. They were very scared. Even the people they hire were afraid to talk in front of their quote unquote Ugandan servants because they were giving information to the state. They were giving information to the state. Guys, give me a second here. Let me pin this. Just give me a minute. I was trying to multitask, but let me drop the link here. Um, okay. People, I'm about to drop the link here. Come in. Um, Tell me what you think. Do you think Idi Amin style expulsion of new foreigners in African countries? Not all, obviously. Um, this is not the pattern in every country, but it did exist. Do you think it would be a thing again? The link is in the comment section. Hit the link. Come on in. Please, guys, stick to the topic. Speak your mind. It's not that you're here to tell me your grievances. You're free to express yourself as long as you keep it clean. No profanity. You can pretty much ask any question, but let's keep it respectful because this is a family show. I just want people to know we can agree to disagree, but let's keep it clean. That's why we're here. We want to hear one another. So the link is in the comment section. Do you believe? Do you believe that African countries where they have Chinese in today, a Ugandan style like Idi Amin might rise up and take power and turn the people against the new investors? Some of you might say that's not even possible. I'm pretty sure back in the days the Indians never thought that's possible. Imagine when they came to Uganda, when the British brought them there, the Ugandans were pretty much slaves. They were under the boots of the British. So they cannot imagine these people to rise up and take control of their own nation. They've seen where they ran the shows when they're playing golf, because they allowed the Indians. There was a class system. The British at the top, followed by the Indians. In Uganda, it was the same way even in Kenya. So when you go to the golf courses, it's literally segregated. When you see the Africans there, they are not there to play. They were the caddies. They were there to carry the ball. They were there to carry the golf clubs. So over time, the people they see it, and the foreigners start doing. These foreigners obviously are living a good life. So human nature, they are bound to turn against them. We've even seen African turn against Africans in various African countries. So that's why even when you talk about the unity of Africa, I like to bring these histories to show, even some countries might not, some people might not be expressing this right here, right? Doing things like Idi Amin style. They might not be expressing it. But imagine deep down, that's how they feel. Now, today, about the Chinese, right? That's how they feel. And then you have another African nation, because now a lot of them are more Western like. They accept the West. There used to be a lot more that pushed against European thinking, European domination. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So if you have a Idi Amin style thinking, and you have somebody next door who have, they call it the moderate open thinking, so both of you being African will not matter. It is the clash of ideologies, and that's the problem in Africa. Here we have a South African in the house. South African, let's bring a South African here. South African perspective. Thank you for calling in. Where are you calling from?
Hey man, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Where are you
Can you
calling
hear me?
from? Yeah,
I'm from South Africa, man. South Africa.
South Africa. All right. Thank you
South
for
Africa.
calling in. So, do you think,
Yep.
are you familiar with Idi Amin? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am. A
I
little
said,
bit, just
I was
enough.
a- I was asking that, it's enough. So for what you've heard here, because back in the days, Idi Amin kicked out. You heard about 65,000 Indians. The number changes, but it's at least above 50, right? So even if we go for the median, let's say 50. But do you think this right here can repeat itself in some other African countries with the coming of Chinese in some of these countries?
Well, well, this is a problem, man. This is very common, this issue. So it will always repeat
It
itself
is okay. So
because
you believe you
anytime you
believe
have
that it would repeat itself?
a poor community,
Man, what's wrong with your internet there? All right. His internet is not, it's not up to task here. Let me drop him in the back and bring him again. Hopefully this time around his internet will work. Can you hear me now? He cannot hear me. Well, when you fix it, you can come back. But because I have you on here, but I can't hear you. So, people, what I was saying is, right, even in Gambia, where I come from, you see, Audrey is starting again. She said the township internet. All right. For example, we have like Kwesi in the chat, right? Kwesi is saying Chinese made Africans sleep outside during the pandemic. Bingo. Okay, so how many other Africans that are not saying this but remembered this? You see my point? How many other Africans, like Kwesi is saying, he remembers when the Chinese kept the Africans outside. I saw it too. There are many other Africans that saw Africans being denied entrance to the McDonald's to get food in an era when This is the only time I've seen a quote unquote a disease outbreak that didn't involve accusing Africans. Because any outbreak, they have to blame Africans. But isn't it ironic that this time around they can pin it on Africans? In fact, the people that where it originates from turned around and blamed Africans. So some people are going to harbor this. They're going to preach about this. What if eventually they have political power? Or another side you don't think about, the military. They have people in the military because that's where Idi Amin came from. So the Pan Africanism is a lot complicated than you think. This guy, let me see. He said, "You don't understand Pan Africanism." Well, that may be so, but the link is in the comment section. This is why the link is there. I mean, because people have different answers, different brands. Because even in the United States, for instance, I know there are many some black people who are into the movements. They might not admit it here in the chat, but I know secretly some of them support Idi Amin kicking the Indians out. They're not gonna admit to it, but they will support it because Idi Amin falls within the ideology they deem fit, you know, as part of one of their tenets of how they see black movement, black liberation. So usually it is the Africans who are coming from, they are not in the offensive like Idi Amin was. He was in the victim. He was the victimizer. So here we have someone here. Imoya Matthew, welcome in the house. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Utah.
You're calling from where?
Utah.
Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Imoya, welcome to the Afridamus Report. Are you familiar with Idi Amin before today?
Yes, I'm from Uganda.
Oh, you're from Uganda. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
perfect, perfect. This is great. I'm glad you called in. So, Imoya, you being from Uganda. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so Idi Amin, first, I'm gonna ask you, Idi Amin kicking out the Indians out of Uganda. How did how does the Ugandan majority, how do they feel about that history? How do they see it?
Well, some they think it's a good thing, but some, like the uneducated ones,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they side with the Indians. But I personally think that it was a good thing
Explain.
because when the Indians came, they took over the economy.
Mm-hmm.
The British put them up on a pedestal, and
Okay.
they were literally they made the Ugandans their maids and all of that. Like we
And
didn't.
servants.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when they left, Idi Amin literally walked down the street. You saw the video, and he just handed out the businesses to his friends, and he really wanted to. He wanted the economy to be for Ugandans.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So you think it was a good thing. So with that being said, right? With
Mm-hmm.
that being said, do you think that same expulsion that happened because the gap is widening again with a different group, the Chinese, could you see this repeating itself in other African countries again with the Chinese, even still in East Africa.
Yes, because if we don't get a good leader like Idi
Hmm.
Amin, who's fearless,
Yeah.
then yes, it will. Because China is literally taking over Africa. They took the Somali Ocean. Like, we're in debt to them, and
So
they
is
took our
it true?
airport.
Okay, was I was gonna ask you that. So it is not a rumor like the minister tried to dismiss it. They did in fact take over the Entebbe airport, like collecting tolls on it. Is this true?
I'm not currently in Uganda, but I yes, I think it's true because numerous of reports have came out on that.
Okay, interesting, interesting point of view. Okay, Imoya, thank you for calling. I'll put you here in the back, and I'll bring in Dr. R.
Okay.
Dr. R, thank you for calling in. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Greetings, Afridamas.
Thank you, thank you. Greetings to you, Dr. R. So, Dr. R, what do you think, you know, okay, before I get into that, do you know anything about Idi Amin before today?
Yes, yes. I already know about it.
Yeah,
I
so
know
you're
about him.
so you
I'm
already know
familiar with
about
him. I watched his movie from the 1980s. I watched that movie.
right.
All I gotta say is, and I got one thing I gotta say to Ugandan sister. The Chinese did not take the Somali Ocean since I'm Somali. But let me get to Idi Amin. Idi Amin was a monster. He killed a lot of
Excellent.
people from different tribes.
Right.
And And what do I know about him? He was friends with the Israelis, but he
Hmm.
cut ties with them. From what I know is because they refused to sell him weapons and fighter jets.
Yeah.
From what I've read, then he sided with the Palestinians.
Okay.
And from Idi Amin, he just basically took the country down. That's what he did. He messed up the
So,
country, and he went to war with also Tanzania. And he
right.
was told by his advisors he shouldn't go to war with Tanzania because there was a
Right.
border dispute between
Yeah,
Tanzania and
but
Uganda.
so Dr.
But
R, do
all
you
I gotta
think?
say is he was a horrible person. Like I want to get to the Indians. Yes, the
Yeah, that's where
Indians.
I'm taking you to. So, do you think what happened in Uganda with the Indians, right? This is going to repeat itself again. Like Imoya Matthew said, she believes, she can see it happening right now in Uganda, same Uganda.
But
So,
why have they learned?
so
But I want to. But I just want to say something. Since I'm from that region, if you go to countries like Kenya or Uganda or Malawi or Zambia, you've got like the Chinese and the Indians and the Somalis and even the Nigerians, even other Africans that are dominating these countries. And that the locals, why haven't they not learned from the Indians? Like that guy said, that Indian racist guy. Even though I didn't like how he spoke, they should have learned the basics. When
okay,
they kicked the Indians out,
let me have more Imoya add her in this conversation since she's from Uganda. Okay, go ahead, Dr. R.
so, Amoy, I got a question for you. Why did you allow the Indians to, what's it called, push your people about, just like with Kenya and Tanzania? Like, how come these three countries are dominated by Indians and other Africans, but yet you didn't learn shit about when Idi Amin kicked the Indians out? Instead of like learning from the Indians, they just looted and bam, the country went haywire.
It's because most Ugandans weren't educated. When the British didn't even allow them to go to school. So it was the Indians that went to school. That's what I'm trying to say. So
Right.
you're poor, and the people who took over your country are now out. What is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go and find resources to take care of your family. So that's basically what happened.
Yeah, because Dr. R, that's I was gonna explain that. So
No, but it's
remember,
not even about that. Why are you going to allow
the
foreigners to
British,
come into your country and push you around? This
No,
applies
but
to anyone.
no, but Dr. R, the British
I know the
were
British
in
bought the.
charge.
I know what you're getting at, the East Africa Railway
Right.
when they brought them over. But I
Yes.
understand the British, after when the British didn't have the money to send the Indians back. Some of the Indians wanted to stay, some returned. But how can you allow these foreigners? And this is the same problem in Fiji. How the Indians in Fiji mistreat the locals. There's racial tension in that tiny little
Yeah,
island, and it's everywhere.
And
but
Trinidad.
then Dr. R, then you would have to agree with Idi Amin, because Idi Amin, he was the second president of Uganda, meaning the moment they got their independence, when he came, when he took the country, he didn't allow it to continue. He was able to put a stop to it. So, what do you say to that? Because he
Sure.
put a stop
But
to it.
did he have a plan B? But did he have a plan B? If we kick these people out, because remember they dominated the factories, they dominated the corner stores, the convenience stores, you name it. And I don't know, at that time the Indians were the biggest employers. If you think
So,
about the
but what
industry
do
and
you think?
commerce,
But do you think, what do you think
if
they
you have
should
a
have
group of people who
done?
do not know, like what I'm trying to say, Afridamus, if I was the president and my people, I knew that my people didn't know how to run the businesses. Me as the president, I don't know nothing about business, and this minority, I think it was like what, 50,000, 100,000, I don't know the exact number of Indians living at that time. Well,
Yeah.
I'm at their mercy. Unfortunately, I am at the mercy of those foreigners,
Okay.
because you have to play it smart.
But
And don't forget,
Dr. R, again, okay, for instance, I get what you're saying, right? But Idi Amin, okay, let me play devil's advocate and speak in the tone of, let's say, Idi Amin's thinking. Here's, let's say, this is what Idi Amin was thinking. We got rid of the British. The British are the ones that brought the Indians here. Because if the Africans in Uganda were just like, you know what, we don't know how to run the government, we don't know how to do this, let's just let the British keep doing it, that will continue. So obviously that didn't stop them, they ran them out. So they're like, okay, the Indians are the second ones that have this class over us. This would be a bitter pill right now, but we will be free later. Can you see, that being the case? Yes, it would be chaotic, but be free and competent later. Is Dr. R there? Okay. I don't know what happened to Dr. R.
I'm
Um,
here, I'm here.
so do you agree with that?
It depends, it depends.
The Indians were imported to Uganda. Don't forget that. So when the British left, they should have left with the Indians. Imoya, do you agree with
Oh
that?
yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. Yes, they could have left any time, but listen to this. You know what's even funny? The Indians had no loyalty to Uganda. They're basically the brown skin version of Jews. Did you know, Afridams, did you know that the majority of Indians in Uganda, listen to this very carefully, they had no interest whatsoever in taking Uganda citizenship. And this is a big fuck you, yeah, to the indigenous people. The majority of them had British passports. But the reason why they could have left Uganda anytime, but they, as that guy said, I'm making easy money. I'm making easy money. I just want to, just like a leech, I just want to make as much money as possible
No,
from
they're
these
claiming to be
people.
their own tribe. They asked Museveni if they could be their own tribe.
So, Dr. R, I know you're saying this, but the Indians did want to be in Uganda. They wanted the citizenship. Like she
No, they
said,
had
they
no
wanted,
interest.
like,
There's no
because
incentives.
obviously they wanted to do just like it is in Kenya today. They became an officially recognized tribe.
Right.
They wanted that in Uganda too. They wanted to be their own tribe there. So Idi Amin had an issue with that. Real Stella said, I don't understand why anyone puts Idi Amin on a pedestal because he was a monster. No, Stella, we're not putting him on a pedestal, just using him as a case studies, as an example of, you know, is Idi Amin, is there a possibility of another Idi Amin in another part of Africa? It might not come in that form, but maybe this time, it's going to be a different foreign group. So, Dr. R, give me a second here. We have SA South African perspective and Josie Gold in the house. So let's welcome South African perspective. Hopefully he got his audio fixed. South African perspective, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, guys? I can hear you.
Yeah, did you come prepared this time around?
Hopefully, man.
Okay. So you
Is
heard,
it fine?
yeah, we can hear you. So um before you got your internet got messed up earlier. So you were saying you believe that this Idi Amin style, where the economic group, which were the Indians, the most successful ones, got kicked out. Now we're seeing it, the Chinese, are repeating the same thing. The wealth gap growing between the Chinese and the natives, and people are seeing this. So you're saying eventually um, the people are going to turn on the Chinese?
You know, these type of things will always happen, man. As long as we are politically and economically uneducated as Africans, these things will repeat itself. Because we think that by kicking the minorities out and ostracizing them will automatically become, will up our standards, up
Better.
our living standards. It doesn't work like that.
So you're saying so then you disagree with Imoya Matthew that what Idi Amin did, kicking the Indians out, wasn't a good idea?
Yes, it wasn't a good idea. And the problem I
Explain.
have is that it's mostly diasporans that are pushing this agenda because they want to use us as experiments in Africa for us to do their mental ideas. And then when we
Hmm.
mess up, they say, "Oh, shame! Look at these Africans," you know.
So okay, so you disagree. Good.
Can I
Okay, let's go ahead, Imoya.
Well, that's a huge slap in the face because actually, Idi Amin, he said on interview that he wanted to go down there to South Africa and free
Right.
y'all from white people and send them all back to the Netherlands. So for you to say that, it's a huge slap in the face. And also, the president of Somalia, he was actually friends with Idi Amin. So if he
Right.
was such an evil person, why is the president of Somalia and Libya the
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
Well, I'll answer that question. The president of Somalia at the
Whoa.
time was a
No.
dictator. If you know about that.
Right.
yes.
Okay. So we have Josie Gold.
Can I talk?
Go ahead, Josie Gold. Josie
Yes.
Gold, do you think
Can you
this would
hear me?
repeat itself? Yes. And what do
Can
you
you hear
think
me?
about Idi Amin? Yes, go ahead.
Personally, for me personally, look, I'm gonna sound a bit. I'm not racist, but personally, for me, I don't think Idi Amin is a bad person. I think he just cared more about his own people, and he was just looking at what happened to his people
Right.
before in the past.
Right.
Do I
Okay.
think that? Do I think that kicking the Indians out was a good move? To look, let me put it in this way. I think it would have been better to keep the Indians there to have some sort of exchange. Like for you to operate your business here, you have to pass on some of your skills to locals. Tell them how they did some of the things they did. I think you could have done that instead. I'm not saying kicking them out. Look, I get why he would have kicked them out because the Indians, for me, not just there in Uganda, but even in South Africa and many other parts of the continent, they were used as a buffer class. Even though many people don't want to admit this, but
Admitted.
that's what they
Hmm.
were. But for me personally, like I said earlier, he should have put in place laws to have them transfer some of these skills to the locals to give the locals an upper hand. He could have done that himself because just kicking them out and leaving the locals as they were, that was never going to work for me personally. That's how I see it. Yeah. And I
Okay.
do think this
So
is going to happen again.
you think so?
Hold on. I do think this is going to happen again. Yeah. Because as long as you have people coming into a country, especially people from outside of the continent, coming in and just taking, and how do I put this? They automatically get there and become superior, some sort of superior race to the locals. It's never gonna go down well. It's
So
gonna
Josie
happen
Gold,
again,
can I
over
wait,
respond
and
to
over
hold,
Josie
again.
Gold?
yeah, hold on, Doctor R. So Josie Gold, so you think the Chinese are running a risk in some of these countries, by the way they are doing business.
Yes, for as long as they're acting superior to the locals, for as long as the locals are being mistreated, they're going to be targeted, whether they like it or not. They should have come in at least like tried to create relationships with the locals, not act superior. Maybe they would survive, but I don't see that happening. So more sooner or later they're gonna get attacked. Them and other groups as well. So yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Doctor R.
I just wanted to respond to Josie Gold that he's wrong. Nothing has changed. Like if you look at Uganda today, it's dominated by foreigners, and the Indians are still there today, living in those gated mansions, eating their what's it called, biryani rice, while the average native lives in the slum. Like nothing has really changed, to be honest.
Okay, I'm gonna ask
Okay,
this
okay, hold
second
on.
round of
Wait, can I respond to him?
go
Can I
for it.
respond to him? I'm gonna respond to him, and I'm gonna look. There's a narrative sometimes when you look at a country from the outside, you might think that maybe that's how things are. But let me ask, like the lady in question. I forgot what your name is, the Ugandan lady.
Moya. Yeah.
How are things like Moya? How are things like today in Uganda in terms of like what's happening with other races and the Ugandans? Is what Dr. R is saying true? That's what I want to know.
Yes, the country is bad. That's what I'm saying. The new president allowed the Indians to come back. So right now,
Sure, but
and
are
he
they the
allowed
ones running everything?
the Indians.
Are they the are the Indians and other foreigners running everything? Is there no progress of like the local Ugandan? That's what I'm trying to understand.
We have progress.
Don't the
Yeah,
locals
we
have
have
their
our
own
own.
businesses?
Yes, we do.
They,
But it shouldn't be that
you
way. It
do
should
have
be 100%
progress. So
Ugandan.
like,
But what do you think of Africans that have businesses? For example, years ago, I
okay,
was outside. I went to Friday prayer years ago, and I met this Somali father and his son. They were from the south of Somalia. Then I got into a conversation with them. Then he said they had a hotel, a big hotel. It was a very big hotel, and he showed me a picture of the hotel. I can't remember where in Uganda, but he said he was the owner of the hotel. So, what do you think of Africans from East Africa and other regions buying up land and businesses? Do you see them as foreign as to those outside the continent, or no?
It depends. Because me personally, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't like Islam because Uganda just had like a terrorist attack. So it depends. Like, where are they from and what do they plan on doing?
So what
Oh,
about
your president.
The
Also, I wanted to add there.
Afghanis?
I wanted Afghanis. Your prisoners took in Afghanis because your government is dependent on aid as well. Like they took in tens of thousands of Afghanis. Apparently, there's a deal going around.
He's a dictator. So of course he did. He's gonna take care of foreigners before his own people. Idi Amin, he
No,
wants to take care of his people.
but that money is not coming from Museveni. In fact, Uganda is gaining
Oh
money
yes,
from
yes.
because the UN is they're giving. Uganda is not doing it for free. In fact, when they bring the refugees, they're giving Uganda money. That's why Uganda is a hub. One of their ways of making money is to take in refugees.
Afridamus. Did you know Uganda? This the thing. I don't like the Ugandan government, but not the people. Yeah, like, did you know Ugandan troops are in Congo and in Somalia, and they're being used as a tool to destabilize these countries? Did you know that? If
Yes.
you're aware of it,
Yes.
That's because
along with Rwanda.
Yeah, I'm aware.
he's a dictator, though. That's what I'm trying to say. He's an
Right.
American puppet. It if it was me, if I was president, I wouldn't send troops over there at all. I would just focus on my own country.
So let me ask this
Moya,
question here. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
can
So
can I
some of
just
you don't
okay?
think Idi Amin is a bad guy, right? But Idi Amin,
Yeah,
some say he's Black Hitler.
He's a terrible guy.
Oh
He's
no,
even hold on, guys.
He
He's
killed a lot of
even
Acholi
wait,
people,
wait,
northern
wait.
Ugandans.
Hold on,
I'm
Doctor
Northern
R.
Ugandan. I love him.
Hold on. He voiced out. He said Hitler did not kill enough Jews. When they repeated the question to him, he laughed. He wanted to invade Israel. He kicked the Jews out of Uganda, and he killed his political opponents, the Obote supporters. He killed many of them. And how do you guys justify? Do you guys think those all those were necessary for Idi Amin to do what he needed to do?
What you need to understand is Idi Amin, he had like a tribal mindset because he was born and raised in Uganda. He wasn't like raised in the West like me.
Right.
So, of course, he's going to
I
kill.
th- I think he was born. He's almost like I think in the like maybe Sudan because his tribe is from Sudan. A lot of his killers like Malia Mungu is from his tribe. Um, so they're pretty much like Sudan. But carry on.
Um, he he had a tribal mindset because his tribe was from the north, but yeah, we did migrate from South Sudan a long time ago.
Hmm.
So he was like born very the way that he thought was if I don't like that person, I should kill them because if I don't kill them, they're going to kill me.
Right.
And that's how many African leaders think. That's why they're over there killing their opponents
You
and
know
stuff.
what? I'm glad you pointed that out. You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
Even like in Gambia, we had the same situation. That's how it's ran. Yeah, Jammeh eventually became paranoid. Um, Even under normal circumstances, things they wouldn't do, but their paranoia pushes them to do it.
Right.
So,
So,
yeah. Can I add my two
Just
cents to?
hold on, Josie,
Hold on,
go
hold on.
ahead. This is for you. Do you
Yeah.
think Idi Amin is known as Black Hitler because he supports Hitler, and he also killed and tortured a lot of his political opponents? Do you still think you still are gonna insist that he's a good guy?
Look, personally, for me, I think we need to be completely honest when we have these conversations and put
Yes.
our
Well,
feelings
that's why.
to the
That's
side.
why.
We live
Yeah.
in
No. Absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely. That's why I'm asking you.
okay,
Be honest as you can be.
okay.
It's not
Look,
because I have to challenge what people are saying, but I
okay,
want nothing but
okay.
honesty.
Yeah, okay. Look, in the world we live in, many of the countries that are powerful today did so through blood. The country you're in,
Hmm.
the country Dr. R is in, did
Right.
that through blood. They killed many people, took advantage of many people. That's how they gained power. That's the world we live in. Till today, they have ways of bullying other people. They remove governments. That's how the world works. It's not something that we like to admit, but it's the truth.
Right.
Idi Amin and many other African leaders, as I get older, if you asked me this when I was a kid, like 10, 15 years ago, I would have said, yeah, he's cruel. But when I look at the world for what it is, I'd say, no, he's not. It depends on on which side you sit. If you those people, how do I put this? They people in my country over here in South Africa, it doesn't matter what happens, what we say, they'll always see us as less than and as nothing. Many other people around the world would agree with them. That's the world we live in. Can't expect
Right.
them to change. Idi Amin has his own views and he was just looking out for his own people. That's the world we live in. So no, I don't think Idi
Okay.
Amin was this
But he
Horrible
slaughtered his
person.
own people.
That's my opinion.
All right. All right. Okay.
And he kept his opponents in the
Sabas,
Most
hold
leaders
fridge.
on.
do that
Essay.
around the world.
Hold on. Essay perspective. What's your response to it? And then we go to Dr. R. Then I'll bring in Banjul, Essence, and Otabenga. Go ahead, Essay.
The thing is that after the Indians left, Amin slaughtered his own people. So how does he love his people? He's just a populist, you know. These people, he's like Malema and the rest of these Mugabe. They always do these kind of things. They don't really love their people. They just love the power, man.
Hold on. Essay perspective. So you think Idi Amin's, even though he never said he was a Pan-Africanist, but you think it's about the same type of ideology? He's more like a Pan-Africanist. You think so?
No, just a tool. Pan-Africanism is just a tool for these leaders to exploit to get power. They use it to get power. That's all it is. They're not really Pan-Africans.
Imoya, what would you say to that? Imoya, you said, what would you say? Like the people he killed, the Ugandans?
He killed traitors. It wasn't like he was just walking down the street killing people. He killed people he seen as enemies who were trying to take him down, as he should. Because look at the country now. It's ran by Indians again.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, Dr. R, what do you have to say to that?
I think Emoya's in denial. He killed a lot of people. Like he committed genocide on certain tribes. I've researched this. Like he probably did kill traitors, but yeah, are you in denial that he killed hundreds of thousands of people? It's even on Wikipedia. You could check it out.
He
I don't
killed a
believe
lot of people.
I don't believe anything the West says because let's be honest. I watched the Idi Amin movie and they had him
No,
eating human remains. He never did
no,
any of that.
I know,
That's bullshit. Yes,
but
we know.
but are you
He never
saying
did any of that.
well, Imoya, are you saying he didn't kill people?
No, I'm saying he didn't eat humans. Like they
Oh,
tried to make him this big villain who
right.
was a
Some of the
cannibal.
things are exaggerated. Some of
If
it,
anything, the royals did
but
that. The queen, she eats babies.
yeah, but Idi Amin, he did kill a lot of people. Um, but here, I'm gonna put a couple people in the back. Just hang tight, and I'll bring
Yeah.
in
Can I
new
just say
people.
this
Give me,
quickly?
yeah, go for it.
Can I just say this quickly? For
Yeah,
me personally, there is no change. Look, I know many people don't like hearing this, but it's something that I think is true. Look, change doesn't come without people dying. It's a reality. Like true change comes through
so
war, and many people are
so
going
then
to die.
so
It's a
then
reality.
so then Hitler is justified then because Idi Amin supports Hitler.
To Hitler's cause, yes.
Yes.
For him
Okay.
and his own people. That's who he was looking out for. That's what I'm saying. Idi Amin was looking out for him and his people. Depending on which side you sit, he's a hero or a villain. Like, look, let me give you an example. There's certain leaders. Look, there's that saying: one man's hero is another man's terrorist. That's just the
Right.
world we live in.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Okay. Let's bring in Banjul, Essence, and Otabenga. All right, Banjul Essence, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from? Banjul Essence, are you there? Okay. We don't have we don't have Banjul Essence. We have Otabenga. Otabenga, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
Thanks for having me. I'm calling from the UK.
From the UK. All right. Otabenga, are you from the Congo or in that region?
Now I'm from West Africa,
West Africa. Where in West Africa?
Mauritania.
Mauritania. Thank you for joining me. So, Otabenga, let me ask you this question. Do you think the Idi Amin style, um, like how he kicked the Indians out of Uganda, do you see this happening in Africa again? And my second question is, do you think Idi Amin is a good was a good leader, was a good person? Go for it.
That's a tough question, bro. But one thing I would say, what happened with the Indian community in Uganda could well happen with the Chinese in Africa or any other community. And
Explain.
we saw it also elsewhere in the world. When a community that is not endogen, indigenous to a place that they came to, and they gradually start taking over, it is only a natural reaction for the local, the indigenous people, to either want them out or get them to change their ways. Now, in the case of Uganda, what happened was the Indian community that were brought in by the British, we were
Mm-hmm.
still under colonization. Well, at some point, the British colonial system favored them. They were brought
Right.
in to serve as a buffet between the blacks and the whites.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
rapidly,
buffer
we
class.
saw that's exactly that. So we rapidly saw that Indian community taking over. So what would the people that are saying he should not have done that? What would they wanted him to do? To just sit back and let his country be taken over? No
So so
other
you so
nation, no
you
other people in the world would accept that.
okay, so you agree with Imoya and Josie Gold, it sounds like.
Correct. Now that's
Okay.
for the first question. As for the
Mm-hmm.
second question, whether he was a good person or not, if it is based on the number of people that he killed, obviously he's not a good person. But
Yeah,
give me the
well,
name
like
of
I
any
see,
leader.
some of them are
Give me the name.
because it's upward, some are saying up to 300,000 Africans
Give
that he
give
killed.
me the name of a leader that has not killed people.
So
Now we're
so
not justifying killing people, but we are just saying when
mhm.
you're in a situation as confusing as colonization, and if we study the history of Africa, we know how the European or the Arabs before them came. What happened when
So
they played some groups against other groups. So if you happen to be in charge and there is another group that is from your country that is siding by the European or the Arabs, you are within your right to fight them. They are called traitors. So if you watch the Second World War, the French, they capitulated within 1 month and they collaborated with the German for 4 years until 1944.
so
What
okay,
happened? What
so
happened when the French took over? They killed all the traitors. And I say they are right, not justifying killing. But if somebody side with the enemy to slaughter you, to help the enemy enslave you, you are within your right to defend yourself. That's my
okay,
position.
all right, all right. Thank you, Odabenga. Just hang tight. I'll have people take a stab at what you said here. Let's bring in Banjo Essence. I hope Banjo Essence got the internet fixed. Banjo Essence, thank you for calling in. Where you calling from?
Yes, hi, how are you? I am, as you see the name, I'm from Gambia.
Yeah, from
Um,
Gambia. Are you calling
yes,
from Gambia,
no, I'm calling from the US currently.
the US? All right,
Yes,
Banjo Essence,
and
thank you for joining us. And
thank you very much.
yeah,
Thank you. So, before I proceed, I just wanted to, because I just came across your channel and looks very interesting. I just heard the lady mention, when you guys were having the conversations, he said, she don't like Islam because, because of terrorism. And I felt like it was incumbent upon you as a host to correct her immediately when she made those statements, whether it's Islam, Christianity, Judaism,
but
because it's
what
just
did you wait? What did you want me to
no. What I
say
was
to
saying
her?
is to correct the lady because we are all here to learn.
Right,
Some
but
people might that if you ask me about Hinduism, maybe I might have my biases, but
but
it would
wait.
help if at least because what I was gonna just tell her
But
is
she gave her reasons. If even if you don't, if you're not gonna like it, she still gave her reasons. So if you have a point to counter why she's wrong, you're free to express that. See, over here, as long as you said you're new here, right? Banjo Essence, you are new in this channel. Can you hear me? I don't know what happened to his internet. Can you hear me? Okay.
I got a question for Amoya.
Go for it, Dr. R.
Amoya, are you from Idi Amin's tribe or the Buganda tribe?
I'm from up north. I'm a Choli.
Okay. So we have
Sorry
Banjo
about that.
Essence again.
My
Hold on.
phone was ringing. Sorry, I apologize.
Okay, Banjo Essence, you were saying that. I was asking, are you new here?
Yes, yes. I just came, to this. I just came across your channel just now.
Yeah, so we have, so in my channel here, it's as long as people keep it respectful, you're free to express what's on your mind, because we're learning. I understand you're from Gambia, right?
Yes, yes. No, what I
But
completely
no, I understand,
go ahead.
like
Go ahead.
for a Gambia, in Gambia, like what she said, I can see how that would be offensive to somebody from Gambia, hearing what she said about Islam. That would be very offensive. But over here, the Afridamus report, it is not offensive. Like if you disagree with what she said, you can ask her
Can
why, and you guys can
Yes,
talk
yes.
about
And
it.
yes, I just don't want to deviate and go into religious issues
Right.
because I'm
Yeah,
here to
let's not
answer
make it about
questions about,
Islam.
yes, exactly.
Right.
So what I was just gonna that was just gonna be I was just gonna talk briefly about that and then get to the real topic, which is at hand about Idi Amin and Uganda. But what I was just saying is, if you look at if you know history, you'll be very careful in going after religions, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, because colonialism had a justification from religious figures. I don't want to mention names that gave credence to these white colonizers to go and enslave black people. But we're not going to say Christianity is the reason why, even though they had some justification to say we had, they colonized and they brought missions. They brought
But
missionaries to come and convert people. But that goes for every religion. They are bad people, they're good people. So when someone uses the name of Islam and commit a crime, you cannot just blanketly say, this is Islam. So that's all I wanted to say.
Banjo,
but
Yes.
what does
why?
that have to do?
Banjo is probably her people. It's probably her tribe that suffered in the hands of the Arabs of the
Exactly, and
northern
which is what
Sudanese.
exactly,
Like I
and we
just
all
googled her
know.
tribe up.
I know about North. I know history. I know African history. I know the Dinkas in South Sudan, and I know exactly what's going on. And I understand because it's a personal thing. But
I was
the Islam is not Sudan only. You're talking about 1.6 billion people around the world. You have Chinese Muslims, West African Muslims, Southern Muslims, South Africa. So
Can
we're
I
all
tell
over
you
the
know
place.
why?
So
Yes. So let's not, please. I
hold on,
apologize.
Banjo, allow
Yes.
allow her. Let's not make this about
Exactly.
religion,
Exactly.
but I'll allow her to respond to this, and then I want you to answer the question at hand here. Do you think Idi Amin? Some agree he's a good guy despite supporting Hitler, and also some agree that it's a great idea that he kicked the Indians out of Uganda, and also we want to know, do you see this happening in other African countries, like history repeating itself with the Chinese coming? But I'm gonna allow Imoya to respond real quick. Imoya, you got 30 seconds to respond to what he said. Make it brief, and then we'll go to him and let him stick with the topic. Go
The
ahead,
reason
Imoya.
I said the reason I said I don't like Islam is because we have had so many terrorist attacks in Uganda because of El Shabaab, and Idi Amin was actually Muslim, and Gaddafi too. So I don't see what you're trying to say. And also, I'm not a religious person. I'm not Christian, Muslim, any of that. I don't think Africans should be any of that. Okay, that's it.
Right.
All
Okay,
But
right.
I
that's your
So,
understand. I
Ban,
would
opinion.
hold
I
on,
would
Don't
hold
insult
on,
respond the
people's
hold
same
on,
way.
beliefs.
guys. Hold on, guys. Let's stick with the program. Banjo Essence, earlier the question was for you about the Idi Amin thing. So go.
Yes. So for me, what I was looking at when I was hearing you guys mention this very important topic was, I was looking at case studies. You know, it's true that most of us, quote unquote, Pan Africanists might have issues with the West, but it's very important also to.
Wait, Banjo Essence, you're a Pan Africanist?
I don't call myself Pan-Africanist. I might perhaps believe in most of the ideas that some people might use. The fact that we need to integrate our economy. I am from Gambia, and I believe that Gambia, and Senegal and these neighboring countries are one and the same. And I believe I need access to go to Mali or any other countries in Africa easily, and I believe that our economy needs to be integrated because the people are one. So when it comes to those kind of mindset, perhaps I might have the same
Okay.
belief system, but I would not
All right.
necessarily term
So
myself.
okay,
And
okay.
because Pan African is so broad and you really cannot
Right, right.
define it,
No,
so
yeah,
I don't
we're
I
not.
don't get into this
No,
Murray.
that's fine.
Exactly.
But okay,
So what I was
carry
saying
on
is,
with the with
yes.
the topic here. Go ahead.
So what I was saying is, if you look at the West, look at the U.S. for example, it's a
Hmm.
nation of nations. It's a nation that has pretty much everyone from around the world. If you're looking for Chinese, there's Chinatown. If you're looking for Africans from every part of Africa, they're here.
Right.
But yet, they have a system that is structured to preserve the essence of this country while still entertaining the idea of migrants coming in for economic or political reasons. They're still here. They're coming. We have thousands of them every day applying for legal status to be part
So
of the society. So what
sorry,
I'm saying
just
is
for the sake of time, um, because the Uganda one is you can't compare that to America. Let's just say
no,
we
what,
know.
yes, now I
So
had to bring that up so you
so
can.
like because Africa's circumstance and the thinking is different. So hit it, boom. Don't
Yes.
dance around it.
So
Just go straight for it.
so what you got, the reason why I brought that up as a premise, so you understand what I'm about to say, like with Uganda, they need to set up concrete institutions that would enable the indigenous people to be at an advantageous positions.
Yeah, but
So
they don't have that.
I
So
mean,
let's
there's educated people in Uganda. Uganda
no,
is a very, yeah. So they have
I
very good,
understand,
very strong institutions.
but they don't have it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That would be part of my appeal to Ugandans or
Oh,
any other
so
part of Africa to
wait,
be able to set up institutions that would give their citizens, their indigenous people, place them in a position of power, like they do in the West.
okay. So you think
Hello,
in Africa, right? Like you heard, Idi Amin when he kicked the
hello.
Indians out. We can hear you. Can you hear me? Something happened. Sorry about that. Um, let's see. Dr. R. Dr. R, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. R is here. Um, we have Josie Go. Josie Go, can you hear me? I'm not sure. Okay, so Imoya, you said the reason why you didn't like Islam because some of the groups that you were talking about. So it was Al Shabaab, not necessarily Muslims. That's just a group.
Yes, it was
It
Al
was just
Shabaab.
Al Shabaab is just a group. Like they wouldn't really necessarily be a true representation of like the wider Islamic believers. Would you agree to that? Or do you think at the center of their action is the religion they believe in?
I think it's the religion that they believe in.
Okay. Dr. R, you're
Well, I
familiar
want to
with Al
respond.
Shabaab,
Uh,
right?
yes, I am familiar with her. I'm just going to tell you, I am Muslim, but I'm not religious, but I'm more spiritual. But you're ignorant about Islam in general. And first of all, I want to say something. I condemn what Al Shabaab have done in Uganda, but are you going to condemn what Amisom or Uganda that's under Amisom? They've committed atrocities in southern Somalia. They've killed a lot of people. They, what's it called? I've never heard a Ugandan condemn what these soldiers are doing in Somalia. They have killed. I'm not going to mention the city in Somalia, but there was a Somali family that was celebrating a wedding, and Al Shabaab killed a few Ugandan troops, but they decided to basically go on a rampage and kill this family that was celebrating a wedding. Do you condemn that?
See, that's why I don't think it's good. That's why I don't
And no offense to Moya, yeah, but fuck your government, man. Fuck Amazon and fuck your government. What they're doing in my country.
Dr. R, the kids are
That's all I'm gonna
listening.
say.
It's a family show. Please, Dr. R, you know, let's clean the language.
And I should say the same about yours because Al Shabaab is bombing my country. They just bombed it, what, a couple months ago?
Well, tell your government to get out of Somalia.
So that's what I'm saying. He's a dictator.
So
I wouldn't have. Remember, I told you that I wouldn't have, if I was president, I wouldn't have them over there in Somalia or the Congo.
All right. So we've agreed to disagree on that here. So, Dr. R, do you think the Chinese, they are having any effect, dealing with Somalia?
Again, every country is different. Like the Chinese are in Somalia, but I want to ask this question: why are some Africans docile to foreigners when it comes to like taking over your business, ill-treating your people? Like, why is it that in Kenya and Uganda and some of these countries in East Africa, they get treated badly by foreigners, Indian, Chinese,
that's a good question.
South African, even Nigerian. Yeah, I want to ask this to Imoya. Why is it that Nigerians are basically trafficking Ugandan women and Kenyan women? Why is that the case? Like, I just want to know, right? Yeah, even Dr. K said something similar to this, the brother K. Why are people from Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania so docile when it comes to foreigners, treating them like shit? But when foreigners come to Somalia or even Ethiopia, they wouldn't try that shit with the people. They know their place. I just want to know. Because I've met Indians, I've met Gujarati and Indians who said horrific things about Kenyans and Ugandans. I just can't believe it.
It's neo-colonization. It's like their brains are set up to just don't care and to act like the way that they act. Like, you know how the Ugandan man got slapped? That's how some of the brains are set up. Not mine, though, because I was raised out here and nobody's touching me, period. So,
okay. We have Mo. Mo, welcome to the show. Mo, where you calling from?
Hi, Aphrodite. I spoke on one of just the one before this.
Oh yeah. Mo from the UK. Mo,
hey, Mo, what's up, man? How are you, man? What's up, Mo?
Bro? Yeah, it's just right now you have to kind of mind me because I'm kind of walking, and
so Mo,
yeah.
With the topic, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, are you familiar with Idi Amin before I ask you?
Yeah, I am.
So
I'm not too familiar, but I know some information about him. Yeah.
So like he kicked about 60,000 Indians out of Uganda back in the 70s. So the question is, do you think Idi Amin is a good person or indifferent to him, good, bad, indifferent, or also he loves Hitler, Hold on, who's making that noise? Mo, is that you?
No, it's not me.
Sorry, I was typing.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, before I lost my train of thought. But you have, so the question is it possible for this to happen again in other African countries where the people would turn against, let's say, the Chinese? It doesn't necessarily have to be them directly, but another group that would come and financially dominate the people in those countries. Do you think the African are capable to have the capability to turn against other group like Idi Amin? Go for it.
I mean, yeah. So I was gonna say is, yeah, I know about Idi Amin, and I'm sure I've heard about the fact that he tried to turn Uganda into the new Israelite. Also, yeah, I'm just gonna find some way to.
Hold on. You said they tried to turn Uganda to what?
I'm sure Uganda at one point. I'm not sure it was him. I'm sure Uganda at one point was gonna become the new Israel. I've heard about that too.
Oh yes. Yeah. They did offer to move to give them the Ugandan nation. You're correct. That discussion did happen before.
Yeah, it's just I was gonna say, see, Afro I've also heard a previous talk about yours about how Africans are willing to fight each other, or this man's gonna kill this man. But when a white man or other ethnicities come to Africa, they shake hands and they all of a sudden they see themselves as inferiors. See, that was a
That
great point that you made. That was a
okay.
that was an excellent point that you made. It's just yeah, I'm kind of in a busy walking area.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
so
Yeah, once we get you, fixed
yeah,
and
I'm about 5 minutes away from my
by
house.
all
I'm
means
gonna
come.
come.
Yeah, once you get yourself regulated, by all
No,
means come back. Okay. Um, Sorry about that, folks. Let's see here. Dr. R, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Boom. Okay. Josie Gold, are you back there? Nah, we lost him. So, so you know that Dr. R at one point, right? Idi Amin. Idi Amin threatened to personally go to, take his troops to go attack, you know, South Africa because of the system they had against the blacks. Would that change your mind about some of his behaviors?
If Idi Amin was going to invade South Africa,
He was planning on it.
well, I highly doubt it. Realistically speaking, I highly doubt he would be able to invade South Africa. He doesn't have the resources or the strength.
At
But
the
it was
time.
good at the time. It's a good mindset he had, but I don't think he would touch South Africa. It would be suicidal for him
Oh, and
because
also,
he tried to fuck with Tanzania, but that failed as well, and that's what brought him down.
Balasti answered your question here when you said, why are people in Kenya and Uganda getting taken advantage of? He said, that's perhaps those are the Bantus. Are you
That's what
familiar?
Amoyi said.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
If
Amoy, you said that those are the Bantus?
yes.
Okay.
That's the guy that got
That's actually a thing where different tribes behave differently. That
yes,
does
I'm from
happen.
up north. When the British came, they said our tribe, we are warriors. So it's just like where you're from. You might be trained like to be sweet and loving to everybody, and you might be trained like for battle if anybody touches you. Different mindsets.
Well, Dr. R, she answered the question. So it's not across the board. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the show. I really enjoyed this conversation. Guys, I'm gonna let you have your last words here. Please make it nice and sweet, straight to the point. Um, Last statements. Odom Benga, you go first.
All right. Well, thanks again for having me, and great show that you have here. I don't necessarily agree with everything that is said here, but it is interesting to see, people standing up and doing the type of work that you're doing. On the topic of today, honestly, number one, people should stop listening to the West. It is not up to the West or anybody else outside of Africa to say who's the good leader or who's the bad leader. Now,
Right.
as we said before, if it is the number of the people that he killed that makes him a dictator, then Churchill was a dictator.
Oh, Churchill
Then
killed
De
a
Gaulle
lot
was
of
a
people.
dictator.
Hmm.
Exactly. Then Roosevelt was a dictator. We can go on. When you're in a position of power, there are some decisions that you make that ultimately will say whether you were good or bad for your people. And I say because of Idi Amin Dada, in Uganda today is not run by Indian. It could have well been an Indian country in the middle of Africa if Idi Amin did not do what he had to do.
Oh wow. So
Now,
you believe they would have created their own country?
Of course. I told you I'm
Okay.
from Mauritania.
I
Now,
know.
if you know a
You
little
know
bit
what?
about
Yeah, I'm gonna do a show on Mauritania. I'm from that region. I'm from
ex-
Gambia. So, in fact,
exactly. So if you know a
I
little bit
would
about
want you, I would want to have you on that day to come on the show to call in when I do the
exactly,
Mauritania show.
exactly. So Mauritania was my country. I was born there. My people have been living there for centuries. The Arabs came. Today, the country is in their hands. They don't represent 10% of the population, and yet
Hmm.
they dominate the country. In 10, 15 years' time, there won't be any black people left in Mauritania. It could have
Yeah.
happened to Uganda. So if there is a strong leader in Africa today that comes in and kick all those Arabs out, he will be a hero to me. But maybe the Arabs or the European will say he would be a dictator. But I want my country
Okay.
back. So thank you
Okay.
again.
Thank you, Other Banger. Thank you. All right. We have essay perspective. Go for it. Essay perspective. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, man. What's the question? Sorry.
No. Your last statement. Go for it.
In terms of dictators and stuff.
Your last statement on this topic before I put you back there.
Well, I just hope that as Africans we realize that we can't be thinking the way we've been thinking all this time. Just go in and slaughter minorities, kick them out, and do all these things. It doesn't work like that. We must do it at a
Right.
government level. Use policies systematically break them down. Don't do it through violence and physically. That's how Europeans do it. They do it systematically. Look what they're doing to Black Americans. They're destroying them systematically. It's all about systems, guys. Think in systems. Don't think just violence. Think, break them down economically, break them down socially, break their homes. Like, do it in that way. Don't just go and slaughter people and kick them out. And it doesn't work like that, guys. We'll always fall into problems. We will get sanctions. We'll lose lots of things, So that's my last word.
Thank you, John. We have Imoya. Imoya, go for it. Last statement, and then we'll come to Mo. Go for it.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you for having me. And also, Idi Amin was a hero because that's why Gaddafi went for him so hard. And that's why we're still talking about him 40 years later.
Right.
And also, if you are like one of these bad leaders, you will just fade into history as quick as you came.
Well said. And Imoya, you're always welcome here. I hope you subscribe to the channel.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mo. Mo, I hope you fixed your audio there. Your last statement. Go for it. Mo, the floor is yours. Can you hear me? Okay. I don't know what happened to Mo here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Go for it, Mo. Your last statement.
Hello?
Yeah. It looks like Mo is using that London internet. It's not working. The MI6 is spying on him. But ladies and gentlemen, next time I'm gonna do another topic which is gonna be very controversial. Docile Africans, certain groups docile, and also you have to realize when you come here, please feel free to express yourself, but just keep it respectful. You're talking, like you're not talking just directly to me, you're talking to the audience. So that's why they're writing in the chat. Mo, go for it.
Hi, yes, just had a bit of a bad connection with the internet, but yeah, now it's fixed. I was
Okay.
gonna say on my earlier point with Idi Amin, he had some good benefits to him, but he also had some some bad attributes to him. But in terms of how do I explain it? In terms of other minorities taking over the country, I understand. Me being from Somalia, there's a large portion of Arabs in Somalia, and I'll probably say somewhere in the millions. And if they
Oh,
somehow manage to
so
annex the country,
you don't like it?
no, I mean like I understood why he did it. I understood why
Okay.
Idi Amin did it.
Okay.
Yeah, And
Hmm.
if the Arabs in Somalia somehow manage to annex my country and, somehow find a way politically to control it, let's just say there would be a lot of pissed off Somalis.
Hmm.
And
How do you feel about him liking Hitler and also
Hitler, see,
killing a lot of his opponents? I mean, Imoya did say
see,
those were traitors, but
see,
um,
a lot of people did that. A lot of dictators did that. A lot of dictators got
okay.
rid of the competition. I'll give you an example. Putin. How many people that challenged him are missing? I mean, if you look at countries like other countries with previous dictators, a lot of their competition went missing. So I kind of understand from a dictator point of view why he did that. But again, he had a lot of good things to him. For example, he got rid of all the Indian migrants that were there because I felt like how many Indians were there? I'm sure it's somewhere in the millions. I could be wrong.
No, well, he kicked out six. Some accounts say 65,000. Some say
Yeah, because again,
40,000.
see, this is why I don't understand. Indians, I'm not trying to be harsh in any way, shape, or form to Indians, but there's a lot of Indians everywhere. I mean, when I went to, because I've lived in the Middle East for a while, and
We're in the Middle East.
I've lived in the UAE, and
Okay.
I saw a lot of Indians there, and they get mistreated by the Arabs quite harshly. That's the truth to it. There's a lot of them
But
that
you
are
know
homeless.
the
Huh?
Museveni. I'm reading in the chat. Our movement said Museveni welcomed Indians back, and 12,000 have taken up the offer. So they are coming back.
But why would you let them come back?
Oh,
You know these.
well,
See, I'll
good
give you an example.
question. The
See,
the
look at South Africa. Look at South Africa. It had a lot of Indian population there, and they started taking over the businesses. They started taking over all the. Um, I mean, I don't want to sound like like a fascist or someone that. But then you have to think of it from the well-being of your
so
people.
so so more. If
Yeah,
Chinese, let's say Chinese decide now that they're in Africa, right?
yeah,
They bring this sweet deal. Chinese are like, hey, Somalia, we want to come in and work, and you know,
absolutely not.
which, and they say, hey, look, we want our, in bringing some Chinese workers, we want to help open up businesses and help the community. Like, what would you say? Like, would you reject it? Mo, can you hear me? I guess the internet doesn't want more to hear this. But ladies and gentlemen, I know as someone said the topic about docile Africans, that's going to trigger people. Of course it will. It's going to trigger people, but um how else are we going to learn these things, right? Because people are observing things that are happening in front of us, but we can't really, speak about it. So maybe before this weekend ends, I would definitely, hit that topic. More, you got the South Africans responding to you here about what you said. South African SA perspective said that is false. So I'm guessing he's saying false too. Okay, here we have more. More, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me
More,
now?
hold, yeah, loud and clear. So more, South Africans are disagreeing with you. South African perspective said what you're saying was false. They only operate a small minority in certain locations. They are not just all over South Africa. It
I'm
means
sure.
mainly
Yeah, it's just
Durban. And another South African, Christopher Kane, said, this guy is clueless. Indians have
okay.
not left South Africa. They are not even big in business in South Africa.
Okay, I'll try to answer what he's trying to say. I mean, I've read a previous comment before that answering the brother that just asked the question that said there's a lot of Indians in South Africa. So there, and that person said to be South African. So there's a lot of contradiction there. But what I'm trying to
Right.
say is, did the migrants, they're known for as the point that you made about the Chinaman. See, with the Chinamen, they move very smartly. One of them comes, he only hires his people, and his people make more money in your land than you're making. So again,
So
no.
So
And you see,
so
if you look
so
at
that's
Kenya,
why
look at
more.
Kenya.
So more.
Huh?
So more.
Yeah.
You know, seeing what is happening. So you're not gonna
I
allow
don't trust
Somalia.
any.
You don't trust. You're not gonna allow this to
No.
happen. Okay.
The reason being is look at Kenya. Kenya might as well just be called China 2.0. They own the ports. They own multiple businesses. They own multiple corporations. China, you may look. China basically own Kenya. Like they own the revenue they make from Kenya is insane. I was researching this a few days back
Yeah.
on how much money they make from Kenya. It's ridiculous.
The
And
Chinese.
yeah, the Chinese literally they make an insane amount of money from Kenya. And what I've seen is also some racism in Kenya, where where a Chinaman had a construction business. He hired his people, and then when the Kenyans tried to confront him, he tried to kick a Kenyan man in his own land. What? It's just it's ridiculous at this point. I mean, from that perspective, I don't trust the damn Chinaman. I don't. I never will. And
So you would turn the business down.
absolutely yes. Like I don't trust any of these Chinaman. And from another point that I liked about that's the reason why I like that point about Idi Amin. He didn't trust any foreign or any people from outside of his own, because
Right.
those people don't have the best interest for you or your people at heart, and that's the
Right.
best truth of it. So
So
again,
with all so you're saying, okay,
yeah,
you know, his intention was good as far as his people go, but
yeah.
um you know, like, you're not saying the killing was necessary,
See,
but it
he killed.
happened. So you're saying it happened regardless. You
Yeah,
know, it is
that's
what
that's
it
that's
is.
partially being a dictator. You try to get rid of as much competition as you can, but again, there's some parts where it shows they had this country at heart, but it also shows that it also there's some parts that also show that he wanted to stay in power. So it is basically had two parts that
He
contradict
was
itself.
drunk. He was drunk
Yeah,
with power.
yeah.
Okay.
He's drunk in power, but also he had his people at heart. So again, there's that contradiction. And
More,
if you,
more. Thank you.
yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
I was
thank you.
gonna say
Yeah,
for
go. I'll
the
let you say this last one. You know, you got 30 seconds.
no worries. I was gonna say, yeah, a good topic for the next show would probably be talking about outside influence, because again, that plays a big role in Africa. There's a lot of outside influence and a lot of well, basically a lot of presidents of Africa that are getting paid by outsiders to sell their country.
Because a large part of Africa is pretty much a consumer
Yes,
continent.
Africa's the
So
only
that,
continent in the world that can sustain itself. The rest of the world needs Africa, but Africa does not need the
yeah,
rest of
but
the world.
are you sure about that?
Yes, Africa can
Okay,
sustain
well,
itself. It has all the minerals.
you know what,
Yeah,
that's a good topic, because having the minerals
yeah,
and knowing what to do with it
yeah,
are two different things. And also, Africans would be surprised. It's not many places as people try think that
yeah,
have, you know, the type of minerals that people think. I think more if Africa, you know, substance, like, let's say, farming.
yeah,
If African, most countries can commercialize farming, food self-sufficient, trust
yeah.
me, that would be
This is another lie they tell.
that would be a good start.
Yeah,
Because
this is
you
another
see,
lie they say.
yeah,
I was gonna
well,
say, yeah, this. Yeah, go ahead, Norris.
yeah, if you're not, a starving man cannot think.
Yeah,
But if you got food for the people, there's no problem. But Mo Solomon, thank you for coming. I'll actually, you know, think about that topic. That makes sense.
no worries.
All
Thank
right,
you very
thank you.
much.
Thank you. All right. Look at Ogene, I'm gonna allow Ogene to come in. Ogene, welcome in.
Yo, what's good, Afro-Demons and people?
Nothing
Happy
much.
Friday.
Hey, happy Friday, man. I'm sorry to see the Super Eagles go, but the Scorpions are still, you know, stinging people.
Happy... yo, no, look.
The
Just
Scorpions are
before I
still
go into that,
stinging.
right? Happy weekend in advance. Happy weekend in advance to everyone else. Now, we're not, no. We're still the giants of the continent, right? It is
Uh,
what it is.
Well,
If we
you know
wanted that,
what?
we wanted that much. What did we play again? It was Tunisia, wasn't it?
You
Like we
know,
dominated the match, and
well, you know
Umar
who kicked
Sadiq
you
could have
guys
scored
out?
for us.
You know who kicked you guys
He's what
out?
no,
You know
no,
who?
I know he's like Ghana out as well.
It's
But
not.
wait, you're not trying to.
It's not
No,
Tunis.
no,
It's
don't
Gambia.
African must don't do that, bro. Don't
You
do
know
that.
why Gambia did it? You
Flipping
know,
Ghana. No. Let's focus on Ghana, bro. Ghana lost to Comoros, Gabon, and some other unknown brothers. Like
you you know
you know
what
what I mean? That's
happened.
Gabon without Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang,
You
Morocco
know,
without Hakim Ziyech, and Arabat. That's like a baby without pampers and like girl without pad. How do you
you,
lose to them, man?
you know what? You know why Nigeria?
Ghana should hold their hair.
You know why Nigeria lost? Because when
Why?
Gambia, got hold of Tunis, they're like, oh, you know how Nigerian? They're like, oh, small boy Gambia. Then, hey, let's just
Exactly.
go relax.
Bro, I was watching Gambia. No, you're very correct in that case. Like
Uh-huh.
we underestimated their threat, and then
Right.
they got one goal, and then
Mm.
they flipping held on to it and they defended well, but we dominated the game overall. And it's
Right.
flipping. I was watching Gambia and Equatorial. Sorry, it was Mali, wasn't it? Gambia and Mali.
Yeah.
Bro, you guys don't stand a chance. You guys have been lucky so far. Because Mali could
What?
have eaten you up.
Yeah, but
Bro,
they did.
Mali got
Look,
bare players.
let me say this again. You know how a
Mm.
scorpion is. A scorpion might be small, but when you swallow that scorpion alive, it would sting your tongue and you would spit it out. This is what is happening. Gambia all
Look,
the way through.
look, everybody on this chat right now, everybody in the chat section, Afridemus himself, I'm putting my money on Gambia to not win the AFCON. If
Oh,
Gambia
here
win
we
the
go.
AFCON, I'm gonna donate 100 euros, right? 100 quid to Afridemus live.
You see, guys. You guys see this Nigerian jealousy. Are you guys seeing this
No, it's not no jealousy.
Are you guys seeing
It's
this
not no
Nigerian jealousy on Gambia?
it's not jealousy. I'm just telling like it is.
Are you
If
guys
Gambia
seeing
wins the AFCON, I swear down. You know
are
what?
you are
Fuck
you
it.
guys seeing this
200 euros, not 100.
are you
200
guys
euros. I'm gonna donate it to Afridemus channel.
you
Afridemus
know
report live.
you know what
You know what I mean? Because I know Gambia's not gonna win.
I knew it secretly that the Nigerians, they're not saying much, but they're like, they would be so heartbroken if small Gambia win it.
It's not small. I love Gambia. Come on, man. I love Gambia, man.
Hey, the
I mean,
country, look,
the total population of Gambia is just as what as the population of my state in Nigeria. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? I can't be hating on them, man.
the country is small, but the talent is not small. That, but I
But you
was
know what?
about to.
Gambia for the future. Gambia for the future. Gambia for the future, man. You
Thank
know
you,
what I mean?
thank you. So I was about to close in, but you came in. So quick statement about Idi Amin, whether was good, he supported Hitler, but also him kicking the Indians out of his country, Uganda at the time. Was this a good thing? And also, do you see this repeating itself in other African countries?
Okay, so I was listening to your show earlier on, just before you had the first cut out. I think your show got cut out based on due to
Right.
copyright restrictions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I logged out for a bit of a time, and I'm just back now. So whatever happened between then and now, I'm not very familiar with it. I heard the last speaker speak, but it was pretty much a reiteration of the points you made earlier on in the show. So what I'm gonna say is this, right? I had
Mm-hmm.
an idea based on the amount of people I've been speaking to on the continent. I'm gonna answer the latter part of your question when you say, can it be repeated again? I
Yeah, go.
believe it will be repeated again, most
Okay.
especially because of Chinese influence on the continent these days. The reason I
Mm-hmm.
say that is because if you look at every nation on that continent, they're over the course of the past few years, and as I will project for the next few years, there have been some kind of socio-political advancements in ideologies of the youth. Now, the
Okay.
youth, of course, maybe they've been watching a lot of YouTube, but
Mm-hmm.
they believe that the West, you see the docility of Africans that you were talking about, that you guys probably talk about,
Right.
because I heard you're going to be doing a show on it.
Yes, I'm going to.
I believe that's the thing of the ancient days.
Okay.
Because these days, when we say the docility of Africans, we're talking about their interaction with the West.
Yes.
Now, in these days, the youths are not that docile. If that should be the case, because now the youths are looking towards is that they've gone from the tribalistic African youths that they were to the social political youths that they are today from a global scale. They're looking at
But
France.
do you think that's the majority, or because Africans that are online are
You
the
see, what I'll tell you about
minority
that is this,
versus,
right?
don't you think so?
No, I think that's a good point to make. But what I'll tell you about is this. I speak to a lot of Africans, a lot of families and friends of mine, and most of them are Nigerians anyway. But I would say that's how it is across the board.
Okay.
But the these days they've started to open their eyes towards the what we say Western or neo-colonial influences on their continent. Like, and one group of people I would tell you, although they were never colonizers on the continent of Africa, but one group of people I would tell you that they resent is the Chinese people.
Right.
Let me
It's interesting that
just
you
make it
said
clear,
this. Yeah.
just to make it clear,
Mhm.
Africans do not like Chinese people. They don't. Chinese people are just they're all about their business and they're very focused on very business oriented. So they tend to achieve what they set out for. But Africans don't like them. And the sort of ideologies that I'm here as at this point in time is a reiteration of ideologies about how they don't like foreign powers. I think it's gonna happen again.
You
I
think
believe
so?
that the youth are going to grow up to be the future leaders in the next coming years from now. I won't say more than a decade from now. In about a decade from now, I do believe that those youths are going to rise up to political power status, and they're gonna pretty much execute their ideologies. Now, I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know if it's not.
But what about the
That
relation with like, because if you look at it, okay, I get it, you're talking about the future, right? But what about the deals that are being made right now? With the Chinese and others where the government is signing it, they would find themselves in it. So they would have to be the ones cleaning up. Don't you think?
that's going to be a burden, a reasonable burden. But what I'll say is this, right? Now, once again, these are based on the youths that I've spoken to on the ground. This is partly how I feel anyway. I feel like it will take a very high level of resentment to contracts that have been made to the Western powers and Asian powers over the past few years. And it will take some spirit of war as well for that continent to rise up. Because you see what the Europeans and Americans have done hundreds of years ago. We are not yet to have done that.
I
We've not
know.
done that at all. So we are back. When I say at least 300 years, we are back 300 years, and I
Right.
believe that some bloodshed is the only way out of this. Whether it
So
be of our own people that are holding us back, or it just be we going. You know what? Just
Amilka,
fuck the world, man.
Amilka,
If
Amilka agrees with you. So
he
he
is no,
believes.
he is what it is. Like we can't sugarcoat it any much longer. The Western blacks are out there looking up to Western powers to give them human rights and reparations, fundamental human rights and reparations. Like I like to say, if niggas are not asking a white man for fundamental human rights, they're praying to white Jesus to give them to save their black
Blessings.
asses or something like that.
Uh-huh.
We are doing it as African continentals, we're doing it on a macro scale than they are doing it. Their neighbors are in shambles, our nations are in shambles. We are
Right.
doing it at a macro scale. So I do believe that yes, it will take some level of high resentment. It will take some balls in layman's terms. It's going to take some balls for us to
So
say, okay,
other
you know what?
so other
Maybe some
Idi
of those
Amins.
contracts have to be reconstruction. They have to be reconstruction because once again, those are treaties and those are like negotiations. You just can't breach them. You know what I mean? So it makes sense, but I do believe that it's going to happen. However, I do believe that Western powers and the upcoming Asian powers are going to have to succumb to the African needs and requirements from a contractual perspective because the youths that I'm speaking to these days, they are different. Like when I say they literally they will express their hate for other people and they don't care. They will express their hate for their own people and they
Mm.
don't care anymore. Like my brothers and sisters, when I say brothers and sisters, I don't mean biologically. But the people that came up in the same town of Delta State in Nigeria, like they're done as at this point in time. They want
Like
every group of people that are not from their tribe to pack up their bags and go back to their home because
really?
they don't feel like those tribes are helping them out in achieving what they want. Now, of course, they are the same people and they understand and they can
Hmm.
treat themselves with some reasonable level of tolerance. However, when it comes to the macro perspective, there is no acceptance there. I'll give you an example, right? I was speaking to my brother a few weeks ago, and he said his phone is destroyed, the screen of his phone is destroyed, and he wanted to go fix it, but he's been finding difficulties fixing it based on price and expertise as well. So I was speaking to him
This
like,
is
are there any
this
Chinese
is
people there?
this
Because you
is
know
in
Chinese people like
Nigeria.
in the West. Yeah, Nigeria, yeah, in Nigeria.
Really? So, so the Chinese they opening businesses there too, like in.
Yeah, so there are a
I mean,
few
I know
without going
Lebanese
up.
are there, but
No, not Lebanese, just Chinese and Europeans pretty much.
okay.
But there are a few there. So I was like, and you know what? I'm living in Dublin, Ireland now. So I'm thinking to myself, like Chinese people here are the ones are the go-tos when it comes to like automobile repairs and stuff like that. And I mean like phones, not cars. But so I was like, any Chinese people over there, they could fix your phone and stuff. And it was like, no, 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 don't say that, bro. It's just you literally like don't say that, bro. It's just we over here. We don't those people we don't they're not here. We don't deal with them. Not like that here. Like a level of resentment that usually no one would notice. However, I observed that because I noticed it because I'm in observation of their character. You know what I'm saying? Like
Again,
it's almost like they resent those people. And
do
those are the people that are gonna be in power in the next few years. So it's gonna happen. And
but
of course,
you know what I wanted to ask you. That statement, right?
mm,
I heard, this is because the people that are back home, they don't sugarcoat it, they speak, right?
yeah,
So some of the people back home, they don't know anything about Pan-Africanism. But I know people even in Gambia who share the same sentiment, like the person you were talking to in Nigeria,
yeah.
like two different territories, but they all
What
feel
I'm
the
gonna say
same
is
way
this,
about
right?
the Chinese.
I was actually gonna speak about that. I do not know if there's any courtesy that's meant to be given to Pan-Africanist people on
You
YouTube.
don't think?
You
Uh-huh.
know, I don't know because the people I know they don't watch YouTube. You know what I mean? Like they're not
Hmm.
there watching YouTube. They got businesses they're
Things
trying
to
to
do.
build. They're
Right.
not there watching YouTube every day. But like I don't know if you know about Nigeria. We're in a mess right now, bro. Like
Hmm.
every bit
I'm
of our
aware.
social infrastructure,
Hmm.
infrastructure is beaten down. Electricity is not there. Water, you have to pay for it. Flipping healthcare, you have to pay a shitload of money for healthcare. Like everything is down. Even housing and accommodation is in the mud right now. So like I think our people feel a bitterness, a very high level of bitterness compared to other African people.
Hmm.
So even in Gambia as well, like you said, like I won't say these people are being influenced by Pan Africanism, but however, the Pan Africanist movement, I think in the next few years, will also influence even more people into this boat as well. And I can only see now. Once again, the ultimate goal of this is that there is socio-economic and socio-political enfranchisement of the African people on the continent. However, it's going to be a steep road. It's going to be a very uphill mountain to climb through. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, it's going to be better in the next few years, in the next decade, it's going to be better. A lot of nonsense would have happened between it getting better up until the point where we might even lose hope as ordinary people. We might lose hope in the process.
So,
However,
so you
it's
would
going to get
agree
there.
that you would agree that so you're saying the Chinese with their investment patterns to China is a bad idea.
Sorry, say that again. Say that again.
So you are saying that the Chinese their investment they are making a big mistake as far as Africa is concerned.
Now, Africa is a continent made of
Right.
54 countries.
Let's say
Now, in certain
for
countries,
most parts,
no, for most part,
certain countries.
they're making a big mistake. For most part, they're making the mistakes because the people that I know these days are xenophobic.
Yeah, because they will
I
succeed
swear
in
to
some
God.
places for sure. just like the British white people succeeded in some parts.
Yeah,
You know,
they're gonna succeed in some parts.
yeah.
The Chinese are gonna succeed in some parts. I think the English are gonna succeed in some parts. The Americans are gonna succeed in some parts. The Europeans are gonna succeed in some parts. They're gonna be different acceptance levels for each foreign investments all across the continent. But overall, I would say that the future overall is African on the continent. I'm not saying outside the continent, I don't really care about that. Everyone's gonna
So,
handle their
so would you
business.
say so? Africa is eventually going to. Most of the countries are going to resent China for China
Yeah.
being their
Now,
daddy.
now the
For
yes,
China being Africa's new daddy.
yeah, absolutely. But now the main reason is because you see, we have like a PTSD, right? And what triggers our PTSD is foreign investments, is foreign
Yes.
participation. And what I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you is because we've gone through colonialism, and you must remember this is the most learned and read African generation of all time. We're the
Right.
most read African generation of all time.
Right.
We learn more than our ancestors have learned. A
Right.
lot of people on the continent are like us as well. They're looking at their past and going, okay, look, we're living under neo-colonialist influences.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also going to go, we've gone through foreign people before, more especially those that don't look like us, in the Europeans and the Americans. It never really worked out well for us. They're going to look at the Chinese with that same eye as well. You know what I mean? So I do believe that that perspective that the continental Africans have is going to affect the level of success that Asian people have on the continent. Now I don't necessarily know
Well, thank you,
their level of
Ogane.
interaction and favor that it will incur to us. But what I would say is that a lot of Chinese people, they are very business oriented. The Chinese government, their big corporations are business oriented. When they come to strike deals with your government, they come in to do it from a business perspective. It's not necessarily a colonialist perspective. They're just being business people.
Well,
However,
The
like someone
Indians were
said,
not.
with the Kenyan port, the Chinese have now acquired the Kenyan port, even if it's not permanently, temporary for a certain amount of time. That day it will trigger that PTSD. Oh, they're taking our property again. That's where I see the danger coming from.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ogene. Um, I'm almost at my closing, but what you said makes sense. We'll be monitoring it here and see how it progress, but we'll be talking about it as it goes. Hopefully, it changes people's perspective
N-
of
Yeah, now
how the
look,
world
right
works.
before I leave, one more thing. The ref in the Tunisian versus Nigerian game, right? That ref
Yeah,
was working against us. So before you guys say Nigeria fell off, we didn't fall off. The whole of the continent were
you
literally
know,
hands on to just pull us down.
you know what? Again, just accept it. Ghana, you
No,
see,
no, 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 no. I'm not gonna accept it.
Ghana accepted it, without making
Yeah, but Ghana has
excuses.
been shit. They've been shit the whole tournament.
But
We
they
came
hold
up
their
first.
players accountable. They are holding their players accountable. But you guys, when you saw that Gambia, held on to Tunis, you guys are like, oh, small Gambia, oh, we'll eat these people. And then you went and faced Tunis and you lost. Anyways, you're echoing. Again, is echoing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for another edition of the Afridamus Report. As you know, some people agreed that, despite Idi Amin loving Hitler, they see no problem. They said he did what he had to do to help his people. So he's hero to some, villain to others, cannibal to other people. But regardless, the proof is he represented other Africans, way of seeing the world and how things should run in Africa. So, it's going to repeat itself again, as many have agreed here. Even in my country over there in Gambia, one point, the certain places where the Chinese have fishing mills, like fishing factories there, they've had issues with the local people. They've burned down their pipeline, whatever, a pipeline that's running. They've even burned down, their fishing plant. You see this around. I don't know. Is it because the locals tend to be jealous of outsiders progressing, or the other way around? Who knows, right? So, thank you for joining me. If you're new here, please make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, and feel free to leave your comments. I'll see you guys tomorrow.